Hi everybody and welcome back to LL Sports TV. My name is Laurie, I'm your host. I'm joined today by the beautiful Kenya in the building. If you don't know already, she's Robbie's daughter. But more importantly, she's very knowledgeable about football and the people demanding that she be on the show, which I'm absolutely 100% endorsing. Kenya, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
No worries, man. It's a pleasure indeed. And it's special relevant today because you were at the game yesterday.
Yes, I was. I was very lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, it's always good to go away.
Your first-hand account of what happened. But for those who don't know already, I'm sure everybody does, Arsenal drew at Man United yesterday. Very disappointing result. As well as the result, though, a lot of people were quite perturbed about the lack of goals and the way we're playing. We're going to address that in a minute. But just your brief thoughts on the game.
Like you said, thought we were going to win. We should have really won. But I think other than a few players, the majority of them were not up to the standard. And I think that's just the story of the season.
Yeah, there were a couple of people who played really well. Declan Rice has got man of the match.
I thought Raya was great. I thought Timber was good as well.
Timber was good.
So yeah.
But apart from that, there wasn't too many people that stood out.
Apart from that, I can't really name you anybody else really.
You was at the ground. What was the atmosphere like in the ground?
Do you know what? The Arsenal fans were singing. Like when I tell you I was really shocked because this is my first time ever going to Old Trafford. So I was really surprised. I know Flex has spoken about how bad their atmosphere has been, but I was really shocked. It was quiet. Like, honestly, you could only hear the Arsenal fans singing. Obviously, they scored right on the edge of half-time. That was the first time they made any noise.
Wow.
So, like, we were singing loads of songs. The Arsenal players, even when they're warming up, were coming over to us, clapping. Like, we were in full support. I think even when we went 1-0 down, we were a bit stunned, but we still were singing. We still were getting on, with the team, and we were very good. Yeah,
I mean, the goal was definitely against a run of play.
100%.
Why Trossard brought him down there, I thought that was a really silly move. So you look at the play again, you can actually see that Gabriel and Saliba were both approaching.
The Great Wall was there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so he was unlikely to get past those two. Exactly. So why Trossard chose to do that? The minute he gave that away, especially it was so close to half-time, I thought that is a silly move. And David Raya, I've got to say, I'm a big Raya fan, but he got that wrong.
The positioning was a bit
The positioning was, he basically invited...
He said, yo, brother.
Yeah, here, see if you can put it there.
I just scored. That's what he basically said.
And that's exactly what Bruno said. Yeah? What, you think I can't do that? Watch this. Boom.
Yeah, I said to the guy sat next to me, I said to him, this is Bruno Fernandes territory. This is where I said he will score this. And the guy's like, no, right. And then he scored it. And I said, see, I told you. I said, if you watch when they played Everton, he had like a free kick in a very similar area and he scored it. He's a free kick specialist. So it was really frustrating. Like, Trossard, I don't even know why he did that. Because if you defend well, which, to be fair, we did defend pretty well, he's not going anywhere. So I didn't really understand. And like you said, we're on the edge of half-time. Come on, bro, just be more composed.
Game management, man. Yeah. And he's an experienced player, Trossard. Yeah, exactly. He should have known better than that. Yeah. Shout out to Bruno. Let's be honest, he didn't do too much either before or after the goal, but the goal was very important because goals change games, as we know. And once United got that goal, you could see their confidence grew. And in fact, I mean, I know we did equalise. Shout out to Declan Rice, brilliant goal. Yeah. But I don't know about you, Kenya, but looking at the game from where I was seated back in the studio, it looked like United finished stronger.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So I was actually glad when the referee blew the whistle.
Yeah, look, I think, you think about it, right? They had, I think Xerxes had a chance, Rasmus Højlund is dead, but he had chances, do you know what I mean? And luckily, we've got a great goalkeeper and we've got two good defenders that sweep up, do you know what I mean? Luckily, like, you think about it, I don't even know if 2022-23 Arsenal team would have won that, if I'm being honest. But defensively we're so solid that in those moments we're seeing Declan Rice doing a last ditch tackle and getting it right. Do you know what I mean? We're seeing Raya almost like an octopus in goal, and he was so good. So yeah, I mean, I felt weird leaving that game because in a way I was very happy for someone like Declan Rice, who I think is, in the last couple of weeks, to be getting a lot of stick and a lot of hate. And I thought, this guy's just showed us once again why we paid as much as we did. Yeah, he's so good. Yeah.
Both ends as well. Yeah. I mean, he scored the goal. Exactly. Like you said, he made the match-saving tackle.
Like, honestly, he didn't put a foot out of place. He was so good. But on the other hand, I looked at some of our players and I'm like, there's no way you guys scored 7 during the week and this is how you turn up. Yeah. I looked at like Ethan, Trossard, Marino, Odegaard. I was like, what is this? Where was the U of PSV? So it was a bit it was quite disappointing to be honest.
It was, man. And when you consider as well, it was a typical story of the last half a dozen games with Arsenal, isn't it?
The usual stuff.
Yeah, the usual stuff. We enjoyed the vast majority of possession.
Yeah.
I got it here, 69% possession.
Yeah.
We had created 17 shots on goal, but only 6 on target.
Yeah.
Incidentally, Man United had way less possession. And they had the same amount of shots on target than we did.
I saw like the XG. I hate using XG, but Man United created more XG than us. So what does that say?
Yeah.
Possession isn't everything. Like, I think that is the story of us. And I feel like even if you look at teams that play like us, like Man City is a perfect example. They lost to Nottingham Forest, but they had all the possession. And possession doesn't win you games. Of course, it gives you a higher percentage of actually going forward and attacking, but the reality is goals win you games.
Exactly.
And I feel like we're getting to a point where we're like, it's actually frustrating. That first half was so frustrating to watch because it's like, okay, United haven't even had a sniff near our box, but the one chance they did, they scored it. Whereas we spent 45 minutes camped in their half and we didn't do anything.
That's right.
So
they say, that you may have heard of this saying, possession is 9/10 of the law. Unfortunately, it doesn't win you football matches. You've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And that goes to the heart of this video today. So we've been doing this same old thing. Possession football, tiki-taka, passing, build up, carefully measured, very controlled. But you get to the final third and there's a lack of potency there. So my question to you, Kenya, and to people watching out there is, should Mikel Arteta now start looking at different things? Should he tear up the script and be more direct, or, try and find new ways of scoring goals? Because it's not just Arsenal, by the way. There's a common school of thought now. I've heard Gary Neville talk about this. I've heard one or two other pundits talk about it as well. They're saying that maybe the old possession-based football is starting to lose its effect, and that teams now know how to set up against teams who play that possession stuff. And if you look at Man United yesterday, I will give them credit. Ruben Amorim, he got his tactics right. He used the same kind of tactics that Graham Potter did, same kind of tactics that Nuno did and a couple of others before, where they set up 2 banks of 4, sit deep, invite you onto them, and they say, look, you could break us down. Everything's in front of us. We're not going to let you get behind us. And we struggle with it. I think that's fair to say. We are struggling with that. I mean, when you look at the PSV game, and I've been asked this question, the difference there is that PSV tried to engage us higher up the pitch, and we were able to score a couple of goals early, and the whole course of that match changed. But in the Premier League, that's what teams are doing now to Arsenal. Kenya, what do you think about it?
No, I agree. I think my issue with Mikel Arteta has always been that he's never had a plan B. So if plan A doesn't work, plan A usually works, but there's always going to be an occasion where it doesn't work. So what is your plan B? And I feel like I'm looking at what's supposed to be plan B right now, and I'm like, I don't see anything better, or I'm not seeing anything like enthusiastic. So like, for example, that game against Man United, that was just a moment of brilliance from Declan Rice, who decided, I'm going to be the guy. The reality is, we had our creative midfielder dribbling away from goal. We had our wingers like hardly taking on their man. And I'm like, when that doesn't work, when your Trossards and your Ethans and your Sakas or whoever have their bad days, which is going to happen with every player, what do you do? And I just feel like we do need something else. And I think there's a lot of contributing factors to that. There's the fact that we've not bought anybody. There's the fact that we are very obsessed with possession. And like you said, I think this way of playing has been thought out. I think a lot of teams now, before, in like last season and season before, they're like, oh my God, what do you do when this team's just constantly pressing you and they've got the ball and it's so hard to get the ball off them, and they've got this amazing number 6 and their wingers are really pacey. Now they're saying, right, we don't engage, we just sit back. We put everybody behind the ball, so you can't dribble it in, you can't do all these fancy crosses in because we're going to head everything out. And I look at Arsenal, I'm like, again, against Forest, what are you going to do that's different? We don't have anything different. And I think there's a lot of things we have to sort out.
Listen, there are ways in which you can circumvent the low block. I mean, I've said it several times before on shows like this. One, the ball has to be quicker. One thing about Arsenal 100%.
We're so slow.
Our ball distribution, it's slow and it's methodical. And it's not quick and it's not incisive. In order to circumvent low blocks, you need quick movement, quick ball, incisive passing. So what you're trying to do, you're trying to manoeuvre the opposition out of position. And as soon as there's a gap there, put a pass through, and then hopefully you can get behind them. You need to use the flanks more. The wingers need to be able to or they need to try and go past their fullback. I know yesterday, Nwaneri in particular, they were double teaming him, making it very difficult. But, it's up to the wingers
this
to
is
try.
The reality of the Premier League.
Yesterday, Nwaneri or Trossard was able to do to get beyond the fullbacks. Shooting from outside the box is a big part of circumventing low blocks. So you're going to have a lot of possession. You're going to have a lot of times when you are facing them up. Yeah. You get, within close enough proximity to the goal, you chance your arm, you take shots.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't mean to say you're always going to score.
Yeah, but you try it.
You can try it. You can get rebounds. You can get corners.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There are ways you can do. We need to be doing more of that. You know what I mean?
We need some trickery as well.
Yeah.
I think sometimes like you said, we're so methodical and so predictable that you can actually tell what our pattern of play is. So for example, we go forward. I know Gabriel's going to pass to Trossard or Martinelli, or I know he's going to pass to Odegaard, then Odegaard's going to pass to Nwaneri, or Timber's going to try overlap. It's so predictable.
It is, yeah.
And I feel like when you think about what these opposition's teams do, they obviously do their research. They're probably knowing, right, I know Odegaard's going to drift out to the right, so maybe I can force him closer in or take him further out to the left or isolate him. And I just feel like, we need a bit more wow factor. Yeah. And I think that's the really sad thing of losing Saka, is that he is the guy with the wow factor. Yeah. And now we're looking at everyone else in the team okay, Odegaard, okay, Martinelli, Havertz, blah, blah, and they don't really have the wow factor of a Saka. And I know Saka's kind of like a 1 in a million type of players. You're not going to find many Sakas out there, but you also need your other players to be to step it up, because when you lose that player now, you got to put the team on your back.
Exactly. Yeah, a ball over the top every now and again. Try and catch the defenders out. You don't have to do the same thing all the time. Listen, we know it's easier said than done. I get that. But what I'm not seeing from Arsenal at the moment is enough variety.
Yeah.
We're too predictable, and it's making teams if you got good defenders and you're set up well, it is hard.
Yeah, no, it is.
You know what I mean? To get past the low block. Yeah. Like I said, it's not just Arsenal that are finding that difficult. Yeah. It's a lot of teams, but you know what I mean? They are obligated to try and find ways of circumventing the low blocks, because if you don't, you're not going to score. Yeah. And man.
I think as well on that, when you're talking about low block, your midfield and your wingers are so important, because with a low block as well, it's almost like how long can you last until you get so tired? Because when you think about it, you're without the ball for most of the time, you're having players run at you, you're wearing down those fullbacks, etc. So it's more who's going to be the guy to frustrate? That's where someone like a Martinelli would be really good for a low block, because he's running at you. He's giving you something to think about. Do you know what I mean? And we need more of that. 100%. We need more of the definitely. Alexis Sanchez's and the Cazolas.
And the wow. You said it right, the wow factor. And of course, you've got to take your chances.
Yeah, exactly.
We are not taking enough of our chances, because we know from watching football, it's football at the top level, and it's a relatively low-scoring game. Yeah. If you take your chances, especially earlier on, then you give the opposition something to think about. Exactly. So when they become comfortable with the low block, if you score early against them, they almost have to come out and play a little bit.
Exactly.
And then you can exploit the little gaps that leaves. Exactly. You know what I mean? So there are ways you can do it, and at the moment I think we're being a little bit too predictable. I think the manager seriously needs to look. I'm sure he's doing it, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he is. He looks like a very meticulous guy. I'm sure he's doing it.
In some way, do we have to not give credit, but give a bit of leeway, because he's missing so much? But then at the same time, I say that and I think, okay, when Saka was here, what about when we played Newcastle away, where we needed a different tactic and we persisted with just crossing into the box and it didn't work and we lost? So I think there is a way where you can say, okay, right, he's not got the striker he wants, he's not got the left winger he wants, the midfield is a bit disjointed because we've not really had the chance now to see the midfield we really want. But at the same breath, I think we've had fully fit teams where we've been really good, and when I needed you to adapt, you haven't adapted, and it's cost us maybe winning a trophy. Do you know what I mean? So it's what to think about.
He could use greater use of the substitutions as well. Early substitutions. Something's not working, don't be afraid to go left field and try something completely different. You know what I mean? Little things like that. Like I said, I think Arsenal, in the Premier League certainly, have become too predictable. Teams know what we're going to do. They're devising their tactics to stop us. And I have to say that the tactics seem to be working.
Yeah, it works.
You know what I mean? We've scored 1 goal in our last 3 Premier League games.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
And you're definitely right. It's not good enough. So we definitely need to change things up. We've got a game on Wednesday now against PSV, the second leg of the Champions League. Last 16. I mean, we're in a great place.
Yeah, of course.
Is that an ideal game in which to try things?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think, there's a lot of players there that you should try out in different places. I'm not saying that you disrespect PSV. Like, obviously, 7's a lot. But, like, you don't just, like, disrespect them, put out all the kids or whatever. But, like, I would like to see players play in their natural positions, or I don't know, we try a different formation or something, because then after that we got Chelsea. So we do need a plan B, and this is actually a good opportunity to see what a plan B could be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well said. Yeah, well said. And listen, we got to try different things, because at the moment, what's the definition of insanity? Famous Einstein is to do the same thing over and over again and expect the same results. At the moment, we're not scoring goals. Yes, we perfectly understand there's injuries to key players, strikers in particular, and that's affecting our goal output. However, I do think it's incumbent upon the team and the manager to try different things. And listen, you can't, if you don't try, you don't know.
Exactly.
So I think that's the message from us today. Let's tear up the script a little bit. Yeah. Let's try and be a little bit more innovative.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's try different things. We've got some good players there. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Kenya?
Nice one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you're new here, please like, share and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one. We're out.